Vicky, look, whether you're hosting, whether you're not, what conversation should families be having about keeping the cost low of the big meal?
You know, I think this is a perfectly fine year, it really is every year, to ask folks to chip into the meal in some form or fashion. A lot of times, the host will make the main dishes, and then the guests are more than happy to bring, their favorite stuffing or their sweet potato pie. That is really a way to help keep costs down. Another is to delegate the drinks. That's an area that can get really expensive. So maybe, Kristen, you bring the wine, Peter, you bring the sparkling cider. These days, you also have apps like Venmo and PayPal and Zelle, and etiquette experts are a little mixed on this, but you could ask everybody to just throw in cash, $5, $10. That really adds up. And while we are on the topic of something that could be controversial, perhaps forego the turkey. Bear with me.
Ooh.
I know that is the staple of the Thanksgiving meal. However, some people think turkey is overrated, and so it tends to be the most expensive thing on the table. Maybe you do an Italian feast instead. And I will say this, if you tell everyone you're having a Thanksgiving without turkey, some guests may drop off the list, and that's a way to cut costs too.
Yeah, you little low-class servant. Because of record inflation that will soon lead to most likely hyperinflation with runaway government spending, a part of the government helping facilitate the largest transfer of wealth in recorded human history, your peasant slave butt needs to charge your family members $5 to eat with you, while you might not even have the ability to eat a turkey for, of course, the greater good of the billionaire class. All a part of the Build Back Better agenda for, of course, the Great Reset. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org, and we got a lot of crazy information to get into. As, of course, the corporate media is trying to help you cope with being robbed blind by the ruling establishment that, of course, is taking every single penny they can from you at any glance, with, of course, any tragedy that they can exploit. And that's why in this video, we're going to be talking about the record high inflation, shrinkflation, meatflation, all the craziness happening right now in our financial system, as, of course, the mainstream media is doing their best to run cover for the people causing you this havoc and pain. There's also some other important context that you should know about the larger divide and conquer agenda that the mainstream media is spreading, which of course we're going to be getting into that as well. But to start off again, the video that you saw in the beginning of this broadcast was not from Ryan Long, JP Spears. It was from the Today Show. That's, of course, trying to be all cutesy about the destruction of our current financial system. Very interestingly, also, you can't even see the dislikes on this video since, of course, YouTube got rid of this feature in order to protect the larger narratives and corporate talking points that, of course, are now safeguarded from people expressing their opinions on. Now, as some corporate media outlets are cracking jokes about you becoming poorer, what's happening in the real world is absolutely undeniable. As, of course, inflation has jumped severely for the majority of Americans that are paying more for fuel and food than they ever have before. As, of course, the price of fuel has gone up on average 60% compared to, of course, what it was last year. Meat prices have gone up as far as 29% since last year. Eggs are up 29% since last year. As, of course, these numbers have dramatically gone up and are continuing to go up every single day, as, of course, the cost of living is becoming more expensive for the average American, whose wages are not rising the same as, of course, the cost of commonly household used items. All of this as U.S. food banks are announcing that they are struggling to feed hungry Americans all throughout the country due to, of course, inflation and supply chain shortages, which have been directly caused not by a sickness, not by a flu, not by natural environmental consequences, but because of government intervention every step of the way that locked down, shut down, and stopped small and middle-class businesses from existing, with, of course, heavy-handed government policies along with taxes and regulations, mandates, and decrees that eviscerated them, while, of course, allowing the billionaire class to do whatever they wanted to, allowed them to be open, as, of course, big box stores like Walmart, mega giant corporations like Amazon were able to do whatever they wanted. as of course local police officers stormed grandma's local store and shut her down. This, as of course, it is estimated that U.S. billionaires got 62% richer during this sickness, during this tragedy, which of course many politicians used as a way to help create this larger transfer of wealth with their moves that directly benefited them and screwed everyone else over. As everyone got poorer, the billionaire class that controls government got a lot richer, with of course direct assistance from the federal government doing their bidding. Now this is of course something that we were warning you about since the very beginning of this sickness when it started to go around. We warned you that the bigger consequences here won't be related to health, but of course will be related economically to the larger financial system which is being exploited here. And still, out of everything that the government has done, screwing poor and middle class people over, helping their billionaire friends, still there's some people demanding more government, more taxes, more regulations, more mandates, more rules, more lockdowns, which has facilitated their cost of living going dramatically up. And this is not a problem of capitalism, this is a problem of socialism and government intervention, a government for the rich by the rich. And when we're talking about rich, we're not talking about millionaires here, we're talking about the 0.001% that truly do pull the strings in our society that of course you can't even talk about. If you're wondering why your rent is going up, why the price of meat is becoming unattainable with new terms like meatflation being thrown into our discourse, the person who's responsible here is of course the person that you let be in charge of your life. Just a few months ago, the White House was bragging about how the average American saved 16 cents on their 4th of July barbecue, which again was just made up numbers out of thin air based off no reality or fact at all. And now today, Americans are paying more than they ever have in history, in American history, for their Thanksgiving meals, as the corporate media is literally telling you to not eat turkey as a solution to you being poor. The U.S. Federal Reserve solution to this is, of course, telling you to replace turkey with soybean products. I'm not kidding you. To combat soaring meatflation, the St. Louis branch of the U.S. Federal Reserve, a part of the quasi-private industry that works with big banks, that prints money out of thin air, that gives money directly to the richest people in the world, that creates socialism for the billionaire class, for the big banks, for the hedge funds, literally tweeted a message encouraging Americans to swap out their turkey for soybean products this Thanksgiving, detailing how a, quote, soybean-based dinner, I can't believe they're doing this, oh my goodness, has the same amount of calories but cost 60 cents less, while allegedly providing you with twice oh God, I can't believe I'm reading this. This, of course, prompting many people on social media to, of course, respond to this by also saying, quote, chopping off your arms and legs not only provides meat for weeks, it massively reduces your caloric needs for the rest of your life. Another person responded, quote, the median salary of those at the St. Louis Federal Reserve is nearly $100,000. Guess we know who's eating poultry and who's eating beans. Another person responded, I don't think anyone is looking for nutritional advice from a central bank. Quote, it would be easier for you all to curtail the persistently high inflation that you created rather than take on a national nutrition campaign. And my favorite response was, of course, this video. Money printer go brr and you go poor. As of course the sleuths at the corporate media are trying to spin information as drastically as they can, trying to of course offset the true reality of this situation and who caused it with their latest piece that's titled, quote, there's a major problem with the narrative on inflation, as of course they blame everyone else except for the centralized powers that actually created this problem, as of course they talk about how it's OPEC's fault that the gas prices are high, of course ignoring how the President of the United States has pretty much stopped all major U.S. domestic energy production, of course relying on Saudi Arabia creating more of a need for them, which of course naturally creates a supply-demand situation, which forces them to raise the prices. That's how the economy works. They're blaming the chip shortage on the auto prices going up. And again, the chip shortage was created by lockdowns, by centralized governments that, of course, stopped the free flow of capital. As, of course, the CNN also tells you sweet nothings about how inflation is just temporary. And again, this is just absolute clear delusion. The writing of a corporatist sellout trying to spin the narrative to protect the ruling establishment at all cost, even at a loss to all decency and forms of truth. All of this, as of course, looting is also right now trending on Twitter, as of course many Americans are deciding to give themselves the five-finger discount all throughout the United States. As of course we have more poverty, we also have more crime related to that poverty, which is hitting the streets all throughout the United States. Now, what's the government's response to all of this lunacy and nonsense? Well, local governments like in New York City have you covered, as of course their first priority is to get rid of a statue of Thomas Jefferson. I'm not kidding you. Today, a statue of one of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, was just removed from the New York City Hall, as of course it was found to be offensive. This is literally what your government is concerned about, what they're doing, as of course they want to implement more mandates, more rules, more restrictions, which of course will hurt the economy even more, which of course will make you poorer while making their friends super rich. As of course the New York Times is arguing that face masks should become permanent. Yes, that's literally what they're arguing in their latest New York Times science article. As some local jurisdictions like in Santa Cruz are demanding that everyone wear a mask even inside of their own homes. I'm not kidding you. This is according to ABC News 7. And as more federal mandates are yet to hit the United States, demanding an oath of compliance in order to do business, which of course will wreck the economy even more, expected to come in January, as of course billionaires like Bill Gates, who invested a lot of money into the private prison industry, into Monsanto, into the big pharma industry, are now creating policies that of course directly benefit them. We have to ask ourselves, what's going on here? Is this deliberate, as it seems to be almost every step of the way, leading to more chaos, more destruction, more poverty? Well, that's a question that of course we will be answering on Uncensored.com later on today, as of course we're going to be doing a second video, an uncensored video about a lot of very important topics, including very curious tweets by Conor McGregor, who looks like he is in a very big media controversy right now. As of course we're also going to be playing videos and talking about subjects that are very spicy, too spicy for this platform. That's why we created our own kind of virtual space. LukeUncensored.com is the website. And of course, we also have very topical shirts that we released months ago that I think you guys would be interested in, that you could get exclusively on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. This one highlighting something that hasn't happened yet, but with the way things are going, I think it's only a matter of time now. All of that, plus a lot more, all linked down in the description below. Click on it right now. Now, I already went way longer than I was supposed to, but I still just wanted to quickly talk about CNN's surprise that a lot of Americans are believing in the right to defend themselves. This, as of course, Kyle has just released his first interview with Tucker Carlson on Fox News last night, surrounding, of course, the very political court case that he was involved in, that sadly is highlighting more of a political justice system that is becoming more weaponized by the day against the average law-abiding innocent American. This, as the media was caught lying about the latest events that were happening in Wisconsin, trying to push a narrative that a man was running away from the police when that was not the case, as we're finding out today, as of course the majority of corporate media is running headlines pushing for SUVs to be responsible for the heinous events that just unfolded a few days ago in Wisconsin during a Christmas parade. This, as of course many woke prosecutors put in there by the billionaire class, has created a situation where career criminals are just led onto the streets, which is creating more chaos, and even some delusional buffoons to call this attack on the Christmas parade, quote, the start of a revolution. Comments and epithets that, of course, are shared by even mainline politicians like this Illinois Democrat that called the events that happened there karma and an act of, quote, self-defense because of the recent ruling for Kyle. Now, that to me is absolutely deranged, dangerous thinking that is becoming more mainline and, of course, becoming more incentivized by an ever discriminatory corporate media that wants to, of course, divide and conquer people, have them fighting against each other, setting up the front lines for a conflict that I refuse to participate in because I believe in the larger ideas of love, dignity, personal responsibility, and protecting what is yours. And if you agree with that, and if you have those same kind of feelings, and if you stand by those same core values and issues, share this video with your friends and family members because doing so helps spreads the larger message that we're trying to get across from here. And this message wouldn't get across if it wasn't for you guys actively just sharing this video with your friends, family members, loved ones, neighbors. You're at the grocery store, be like, hey, ma'am, you should watch this YouTube video called youtube.com/wearechange because I think it might shatter your reality and wake you up to the true nature of how the world really is, and it might give you a perspective that could help you later down the line. Now, you don't have to say those exact things, but even just simply just scrolling down any kind of messenger service you have, copying this video URL, sending it to random people without even saying anything, does amazing wonders to us, to this channel, and to this larger message that we're trying to get out there. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I got one more video coming your way here on LukeUncensored.com. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.